All right, let's do this. We're going deep on the Fellowship of the Ring today.
Our first deep dive into the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Yeah, using excerpts from lordoftherings.txt. So
Should be fun.
should be. We're going to try to unpack how this movie,
How does it even begin to set up this world?
this huge, complex world.
And it's one of the most, I think, beloved trilogies in cinema.
Yeah. And for me, it's interesting how they just nail it right out of the gate.
Yeah.
With that prologue, it's like
The prologue is great.
Tolkien History 101, but in 5 minutes?
Yeah. A very concise history of the One Ring.
Yeah.
Its creation by Sauron.
And the power.
And all the consequences that come from it.
I've seen this movie countless times, and I'm still glued to the screen during that prologue.
It's really effective.
What do you think makes it so effective?
It's just such efficient world building. You know, it tells you everything you need to know to understand the story going forward. Yeah. It's like the rise of Sauron, the forging of the ring, then the battle against him, Isildur's decision
to
keep the ring rather than destroy it. It sets up, it has these ripple effects that echo throughout the rest of the story.
It's a great hook, I think, for the movie, too.
Totally.
Because it leaves you with that question of okay, where did it go?
Right.
And what's going to happen when it comes back? And then, boom, we're in the Shire.
Yeah, the contrast is amazing.
It's incredible. The Shire is just
this idyllic, peaceful haven.
I just want to move there.
Yeah.
I want to be a hobbit.
And it really showcases the contrast with the darkness that's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Yeah. We meet our key players.
Yeah.
Bilbo, Gandalf.
For it shows their warmth, their humor.
Right.
Before the darkness.
Yes. And it's funny, even before Gandalf confirms, hey, this is the One Ring, there are these little hints of danger.
Yeah, absolutely. The film does a great job with that foreshadowing.
Yeah, like at Bilbo's birthday.
Yes.
When he's giving this speech and he's like...
And he can't let go of the ring.
Yeah.
It's such a small moment.
But it's huge.
But it just speaks volumes.
Yeah. And then as soon as Gandalf confirms it, it's like everything changes.
Everything changes.
Stakes are raised. Frodo's got to leave.
Gotta go.
And then we're introduced to...
the ring race.
The ring race. Still creepy to this day. Those whispers.
They are terrifying.
But it's funny because they're super powerful, and then sometimes they're
a little inconsistent.
Yeah, a little inconsistent, can't figure out how to cross a river.
I think that's a point of contention for a lot of fans.
Yeah.
Some say it's the filmmakers just taking liberties.
Right.
Others say, well, it does show that they have vulnerabilities.
Right.
But personally,
yeah,
I find that it makes them a bit more unpredictable as villains.
Yeah.
You know, they're not all powerful all the time.
And just when the hobbits are dealing with these creepy ring wraiths, in comes Strider or Aragorn.
Right? Yeah.
He's introduced as this mysterious ranger, but his relationship with the hobbits, it really changes.
Yeah, he softens.
Yeah.
He becomes almost like a
protector.
Yeah, almost fatherly.
Yeah.
Do you think that was intentional from the filmmakers or just Viggo Mortensen?
I think it's a little of both, honestly.
Yeah.
Because Aragorn's character in the books, he is this kind of conflicted...
burdened by his lineage, unsure of his place in the world.
But he's got this goodness.
Yeah.
This innate sense of duty.
Right.
And I think Mortensen just...
brings it out perfectly.
He does. He brings this quiet strength and vulnerability that just makes you instantly like him.
Yeah, even though he's so mysterious.
Yeah, and I think that relationship between Aragorn and the hobbits is so key.
Yeah.
Because it speaks to these, unlikely alliances.
Oh, which the whole story is about. This idea that different people...
have to come together.
Need to come together.
Yeah. And that all culminates in the Council of Elrond, which is such a powerful scene.
That scene gives me chills every time.
Every time.
Representatives from men, elves, dwarves, all deciding the fate of Middle-earth.
It's incredible.
And you see them all together in Rivendell.
Yeah.
And the way Jackson uses those wide shots,
it's
just showing the grandeur and the diversity.
Yeah.
It emphasizes how large this is. It's not just a small problem. This affects everyone.
And it's there that the Fellowship is born, right?
The Fellowship is born.
This amazing group, Gandalf, Gimli, Boromir, all these different personalities.
Bringing their skills.
And it's their journey.
But let's be real. It's the Hobbit's journey.
It is the Hobbit's journey.
They bear the weight of this.
Literally and figuratively.
Literally and figuratively.
And the film does such a good job, I think, of showing us Middle-earth through their eyes. They go from the Shire.
Which is so small.
These massive mountains.
Yeah, the landscapes are incredible.
And the way they use New Zealand,
it's breathtaking.
it's just perfect.
Perfect, yeah.
It's magical. And I think using those practical locations really helps ground the story.
Yeah, you feel like you're there with them.
Yeah. And then, the Mines of Moria.
Oh, the Balrog.
The Balrog. When that thing rises out of the depths.
Talk about a visual spectacle.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
What do you think about the CGI there?
It's so well done.
Because they use so much practical in the beginning, and then...
But then you have this...
a lot of CGI.
This larger-than-life creature.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the way they use the light and shadow with the Balrog's flames, it's just masterful.
And it's interesting, too, because it's visually spectacular, but it's also this...
It's so emotional.
Huge emotional moment.
Gandalf sacrificing himself.
It's the ultimate sacrifice.
To protect the Fellowship.
It reminds us what's at stake.
And it's a turning point in the film because they lose their litter, the ring gets heavier.
Yeah.
And the Fellowship is headed for
some trouble.
For some trouble.
Yeah. And on that note, I think we'll wrap up part 1 of our deep dives.
Yeah, join us for part 2.
Where we'll talk about the breaking of the Fellowship and those individual journeys.
It's going to get intense.
Oh, yeah. Buckle up.
Welcome back to the deep dive.
What?
We left off talking about Gandalf and that Balrog.
Yeah, what a way to go. Right?
Yeah, and the Fellowship's kind of reeling.
They're a little lost.
A little lost, for sure. But before we get to the breaking of the Fellowship,
okay,
I think we should talk about some of the other creatures we meet.
Because they're really cool.
Yeah, and they play a big part in the story.
They do.
They're not just there for the special effects.
Right, like the orcs, for instance.
The orcs. Yeah.
You really get a sense of...
Their savagery.
Their savagery, like in the Mines of Moria.
Yeah.
During those battle scenes.
But they're not just mindless monsters, though.
No, there's...
You get a sense of their culture, their hierarchy.
Their language.
Their language is awesome.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
And then you have, like, the cave troll.
Oh, yeah.
This, like, big, hulking...
brute force.
Yeah. What do you think the filmmakers were going for with those different types?
Well, I think it's about showing the different forms evil can take, Okay. The orcs are more organized.
Right.
And the cave troll is just this, like...
Primal
force.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Like different flavors of evil.
Flavors of evil.
Courtesy of Sauron.
Courtesy of Sauron.
Exactly.
And then, on the flip side, you have the elves in Lothlorien.
Oh, Lothlorien.
It's such a contrast to everything else we've seen.
It's like stepping into another world.
That's beautiful.
All that beauty.
And the elves are so...
Elegant. Connected to nature.
Yes.
There's a real sense of hope when they're on screen.
Yeah. And the Galadriel.
Ah, Galadriel.
She's amazing.
Cate Blanchett, man.
Oh, she's so good.
She's perfect for that role.
She is.
That scene with the mirror.
Oh, the mirror.
She's spooky.
It's chilling.
Chilling, yeah.
Yeah. But it shows how much pressure Frodo's under.
The weight of the world is on his shoulders.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it's not just a physical journey, right?
No, it's mental and emotional, too.
He's constantly being tempted.
That ring does not make it easy.
No, it does not.
But at least he has Sam.
Samwise Gamgee. He's the best.
The best friend you could ask for.
Loyal.
Supportive.
Always there.
Sam is the heart of the Fellowship, I think.
I agree.
A little bit of light in all that darkness.
Yeah. And their friendship is just so...
It's heartwarming, isn't it?
It is, especially considering everything else they're going through.
Yeah, with these epic battles and...
life or death stuff.
Yeah. But it's that bond between them that really shines through.
Yeah. But speaking of things getting tough, the Fellowship is about to face its biggest challenge yet.
This is where things get really interesting.
Because it's not just about external threats anymore.
No, it's internal conflicts, too.
Yeah, like Boromir.
Oh, Boromir.
He's really struggling.
With temptation.
He wants to save his people.
Yeah.
But he's letting that desire for power cloud his judgment.
Classic tragic hero, in a way.
What do you think about his character arc?
It shows how easily good intentions can go wrong. How anyone can be seduced by power.
Yeah.
Even someone as noble as Boromir.
And it all leads to that moment where he tries to take the ring from Frodo.
Which is heartbreaking.
So heartbreaking.
But it's also a turning point.
Because it's what leads to his redemption.
He realizes his mistake.
And sacrifices himself to save Merry and Pippin.
He goes out a hero.
He does.
And his death.
It's what breaks the Fellowship.
It does.
That's the end of that unity.
It's the end of one chapter and the beginning of another.
Yeah. Frodo and Sam decide to go it alone.
To Mordor.
And Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli.
They're off to rescue the hobbits.
It's a huge turning point in the story.
It is, and we're left wondering what's going to happen to them all.
It's a great cliffhanger.
That makes you want to watch the next movie right away.
Exactly. And it's amazing how the film balances these huge events with the individual struggles of the characters.
You're invested in both.
Yeah.
The big picture and the personal journeys.
I think that's one of the reasons this movie is so beloved.
It's so relatable.
Yeah. Because those themes, courage, friendship, hope.
They're universal.
They are. But we've only looked at the good guys so far.
Right.
We need to talk about the villains, too.
The forces of darkness.
Yeah. Are you ready for that?
Let's do it. Let's explore the shadows.
All right, welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've talked heroes. We've talked creatures.
Now it's time for the bad guys.
The villains. The forces of darkness.
The shadow.
And, it's not just like Sauron versus the good guys.
Right, it's more complicated than that.
There are shades of gray. Like we talked about Boromir and his struggles.
Yeah, his temptation.
But then you have Saruman.
Oh, Saruman.
This wizard who was supposed to be good.
A member of the White Council.
Yeah.
Tasked with fighting Sauron.
And he gets seduced by power.
He does. It's a classic fall from grace.
Why do you think he's such a good villain?
I think he shows how easy it is to be corrupted. Even the wisest can be tempted.
Yeah, power corrupts.
Absolutely.
And it's not just him.
Right.
No, Sauron himself.
We don't actually see him in this movie.
But you feel his presence.
Yeah. It's like this luminous...
That eye on top of Barad-dûr.
So creepy.
It's a constant reminder that he's watching.
It's effective.
It really is.
Creates this sense of paranoia.
Nowhere is safe.
And speaking of creepy, the orcs.
The orcs?
They're brutal.
Savage.
But what I find interesting is there's like an order to them.
Yeah, there's a hierarchy.
They're organized.
Sauron has harnessed their savagery.
Yeah, given them a purpose.
A twisted purpose, but a purpose nonetheless.
And the filmmakers did such a great job with them.
The design is fantastic.
Yeah, the costumes, makeup, the language.
It's all so unsettling.
Which makes those battle scenes even more intense.
Speaking of those battles.
They were pretty epic.
The choreography, the editing. Yeah, the way it's all put together.
There's a real weight to the action.
You feel every blow.
Every arrow.
And it's not just about showing cool moves.
No, it's about the chaos of war.
The stakes.
And it ties back to that balance we were talking about.
Between the epic and the intimate.
You see the grand battles, but you also feel the personal losses.
Yeah, it makes it all so much more real.
And relatable.
Because ultimately it's a story about people.
About the choices we make.
And the consequences.
The human condition, really.
Yeah, set against this epic backdrop.
Exactly.
And I think that's why this movie has resonated with so many people.
It's timeless.
It reminds us that even in the darkest times,
there's always hope.
That even the smallest person can make a difference.
That's a powerful message.
It is. So as we wrap up our deep dive into the Fellowship of the Ring.
It's been a journey.
It has. I want to leave you with this question. If you were part of the Fellowship.
Ooh, good question.
Whose journey would resonate with you the most?
And why?
Because they all face challenges.
They do. Frodo, Sam, Aragorn.
They all have something to teach us.
About ourselves.
And that's the magic of Tolkien, I think.
He creates these characters that we connect with.
On such a deep level.
Even though they're in this fantastical world.
So think about that. Whose journey would be yours?
It's something to ponder.
It is. And until next time, fellow deep divers, may your paths be filled with adventure and your hearts with hope.
And may the second breakfast be with you.
Always.